A young pilot climbed into his fighter plane for what would become the mission that changed everything.
Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this.
A young pilot climbed into his fighter plane for what would become the mission that changed everything. He had no idea that in just 3 hours, he would face a choice between his own survival and saving an entire convoy of innocent lives trapped beneath enemy fire. This is the story of courage that went beyond duty. Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Lieutenant James Carter woke up that morning, December 1943, just like any other morning at the airbase in southern England. The cold air bit through his uniform as he walked across the frozen ground toward the mess hall. It was 22 years old. He had flown 17 missions over occupied France. 17 times he had cheated death. Other pilots talked about luck. James did not believe in luck anymore. He believed in training and instinct, and the hope that today would not be his last day. The briefing room smelled like coffee and cigarette smoke. 20 pilots sat in wooden chairs waiting for the mission orders. The commanding officer walked in holding a map. He pinned it to the board without saying a word. Everyone leaned forward. The target was deep inside enemy territory. A reconnaissance mission. James would fly alone, low and fast, photographing German tank positions near the Belgian border. Intelligence needed those photographs to plan the next major offensive. Without those images, thousands of Allied soldiers would be walking blind into enemy fire. James nodded. He had done this before. Solo missions were the most dangerous, but also the most critical. One plane, one pilot. One chance to get it right. He grabbed his flight gear and walked toward his aircraft. The mechanics had already prepared his P-51 Mustang. The silver metal gleamed in the weak morning sunlight. He ran his hand along the fuselage like he always did. A small ritual. A moment of connection with the machine that kept him alive. The engine roared to life. The propellers spun into a blur. James taxied down the runway and pushed the throttle forward. The plane lifted off the ground, and he was airborne, climbing through the gray clouds into the open sky. Below him, England disappeared. Ahead of him, enemy territory waited. He flew east, keeping low to avoid radar detection. The landscape changed from green fields to scarred earth. Bomb craters, burned villages. The evidence of war was everywhere. 20 minutes into the flight, James spotted the target area. German panzer tanks lined up in formation near a forest. He descended lower, camera ready, snapping photograph after photograph. The images were clear, perfect. Mission accomplished. But then, he saw something else. Something that was not on the briefing map. A convoy of civilian trucks trapped on a narrow road. Women and children visible, even from the air. And surrounding them, German soldiers closing in, weapons raised. James knew the rules. Complete the mission. Return to base. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. But he also knew what would happen if he flew away. Those people had minutes, maybe less. He circled once, his mind racing. This was not his mission. This was not his responsibility. But whose responsibility was it? He thought about his sister back home. His mother. If they were down there, trapped and terrified, would he want someone to just fly past? He made his decision in seconds. James dove toward the German position, guns blazing. Tracer rounds lit up the road. The soldiers scattered, confused and surprised by the sudden attack from above. The convoy started moving, engines roaring, desperate to escape. James pulled up, circled again, and made another pass. More gunfire, more chaos. He was buying them time, just a few precious minutes. But it was working. The trucks were gaining distance. Then the flak started. Anti-aircraft fire erupted from hidden positions in the forest. Black clouds of shrapnel exploded around his plane. James felt the impact before he heard it. Metal tearing. The controls shaken violently in his hands. His engine coughed, and smoke poured from the cowling. He was hit. Badly. The altimeter needle dropped. He was losing altitude fast. James fought with the stick, trying to keep the nose up. But the plane was dying beneath him, a look head down. The convoy was still moving. Still escaping. They were going to make it. He had given them that chance. His aircraft shuddered, and the engine cut out completely. Silence, except for the wind. He was gliding now, searching for any place to land. There was nothing but trees and enemy positions below. He knew he would not make it back to England. He knew he might not make it to the ground alive. But in that moment, James felt something unexpected. Peace. he had made a choice. Not because someone ordered him to, not because it was strategic or tactical. He made it because it was right, because those people deserved a chance to live just as much as he did. The plane clipped the top of a pine tree and spun sideways. James pulled the canopy release and ejected, his parachute deploying with a violent jerk. He floated down through the cold air, watching his Mustang spiral into the forest and explode in a ball of orange flame. He hit the ground hard, rolling through the snow and mud. Pain shot through his leg, but he forced himself up. He could hear voices, German voices. They were coming. James limped into the thick underbrush, moving as fast as his injured leg would allow. Behind him, flashlights swept through the trees. Dogs barked. He pressed himself against a fallen log, barely breathing. As soldiers passed within meters of his position, Dame obeyed on. He waited until the sounds faded, then started moving again, heading west toward Allied lines. It would take him 3 days of walking, hiding, and sheer determination. But James Carter made it back. When he finally stumbled into a British outpost, exhausted and huffed, the first thing the officers asked was whether he got the photographs. He had. The film canister was still secured in his flight jacket. The intelligence was good. The offensive went ahead and succeeded. But James never mentioned the convoy. He never filed a report about the civilians he saved. It was not part of the mission. It would not appear in any official record. Years later, after the war ended, James received a letter. It was from a woman in Belgium. She wrote that she had been on a truck that day in December 1943. She had been 17 years old, fleeing with her family from a village destroyed by shelling. They were certain they would be captured or killed. Then a silver plane appeared from nowhere, attacking the soldiers and giving them the seconds they needed to escape. She wanted to thank the pilot. Whoever he was, she wanted him to know that because of him, she lived. She had children now. Grandchildren. A whole life that would not have existed without that choice. James read the letter 3 times. He folded it carefully and put it in his desk drawer. He never responded. He did not need recognition or medals. He knew what he had done and why he had done it. That was enough. War forced people into impossible situations where every choice carried weight beyond measure. Some followed orders. Some followed conscience. James followed both, when he could. But when forced to choose, he chose humanity. The story of Lieutenant James Carter is not unique. Across every battlefield of World War II, individuals made similar decisions. Moments where the rulebook did not matter, where rank and protocol fell away, where a single person decided that saving a stranger was worth risking everything. These moments did not change the outcome of the war. They did not shift borders or topple regimes. But they changed individual lives. They preserved futures that would have been erased. We remember the big battles, the famous generals, the turning points that history books celebrate. But war is also made of these smaller moments. A pilot who veered off course, a soldier who shared his rations, a medic who ran into fire to drag a wounded enemy to safety. These actions did not make headlines, but they defined what it meant to remain human when the world had gone mad. James Carter flew 43 missions before the war ended. He returned home, became a teacher, and never spoke publicly about his service. His students never knew that the quiet man teaching them mathematics had once dove through enemy fire to save people he would never meet. That was his generation. They did what needed to be done, then moved forward without fanfare or expectation of praise. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.